right, sweet. Flatline MMA podcast, episode number 36. The boys are here to talk some fights. Let's just go over. So we had a couple exciting ones last weekend. I think they called it UFC Apex 3. At this point, hard to keep track. Apex, no fans. But I think we've had some great fights. Just want to go through last weekend's card just a little bit. Let me just go to it. I mean, prelims, anything stand out to you, Kev? I know we had, the Roxanne Medaferi fight, Lauren Murphy getting the best of her via decision. Tisha Torres, her getting the nod as well. I know we had that Clay Guida, Bobby Green fight. I know they had some bad blood in the making with the Bobby Green coming out with the decision. Any fights on there kind of stood out to you Saturday night? Anything?
Nah, just the main card was really good.
Yeah.
We can hop into that.
Yeah, 100%. Main card here. I know we had, overall on paper, I thought this was a very good-looking card. You know what I mean? We had some good fighters on it. We had some vets. We have some guys that have been in the UFC forever. I kind of wanted to start with the Belal Muhammad, Limon good fight because that one was fun. Belal Muhammad getting the decision. This kid's impressive, man. I really think, he's kind of made his run in the UFC. I know this fight, I believe this was, he was supposed to fight during, I think he was supposed to fight on the Gaethje card, I believe, and I know this one got pushed a little bit, but great performance by both of these guys. I'm impressed with both of them. I know, Limon Goods is tough as it gets, but I feel like Belal Muhammad's so crafty, man, and he's tough to read. So what do you think about that one?
Yeah, it was an awesome fight. I mean, Belal had him, the first half of the fight.
Yep.
You kind of saw Good getting a little frustrated. He wasn't able to get anything going. But towards the end, he was nailing him with some shots. So I could have seen that fight going Good's way as well because of the amount of damage that he was putting on him and how hard he was hitting him towards the end of the fight. He's kind of getting into a groove towards the end of the second, all the third round. But Belal Muhammad, for the most part, dominated that first round.
Yes.
Had a really strong showing in the second. And, he weathered all the adversity, through the third. He was able to come back and have some moments of his own in that third round. So it was an awesome fight. It was really fun to watch.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think, that first round is really what, took the fight for him, to be completely honest. And, he's good everywhere, man. I think you look at his, record, he's on a 3-fight win streak right now. So that's obviously in the UFC. Whenever you go on, any type of run like that, bigger fights start coming. So, I think for both of these guys, obviously Limon good too. Like you said, could have went either way on the scorecards, but I think the judges did get this one right, to be completely honest. So hoping for some big fights for both of these guys coming up shortly. So that was a real fun one. I think we knew that was going to be fun anyway. The Pennington fight, I don't have too many comments on, not really. Let's just get to the fun stuff. Co-main events, Josh Emmett taking on Shane Burgos. We could talk about this one forever. What a fight. Fight of the year candidate. These boys went at it. Josh Emmett hits like an absolute truck. But let's talk about Shane Burgos' chin because I don't know how he got up. It doesn't make any sense. Josh Emmett taking the decision. What'd you think about this fight? This one was too fun to watch.
Yeah, and you're seeing the tweets down at the bottom of the fight. Everyone was saying that this, is a fight of the year contender, which is saying a lot when we just had, Gaethje Ferguson a few weeks ago, and that whole card. Well, all those fights are great. So, but yeah, I mean, Burgos wasn't backing down. He took some shots. He wasn't afraid of Emmett's power.
No.
He was walking him down the entire fight. Even when he got knocked down in the I forget if he got knocked down in the second, but I know he got knocked down a couple times in the third.
Yep.
He get right back up to his feet, and he's looking for the win the entire time. So it's definitely a fight I'd like to see again. I think a rematch between them two, like a headline fight, 5-rounder.
Yeah.
It looked like Emmett was closing in on getting that finish. If it went another round and another 2 rounds. But yeah, Burgos had no quit, and you know he was winning some rounds of his own too. So it was a pretty even fight up to the point where Emmett was scoring those knockdowns.
Yeah, just what a fight. I mean, you gotta give it up to a guy like Josh Emmett, man. He, you know, obviously overcoming some adversity, you know, coming back from that huge loss he had versus Jeremy Stevens, and he's just been on an absolute tear. He's destroying everyone in his path. And then I look at Shane Burgos, who, you know, coming into this, his only loss is to Calvin Kattar, right? Obviously, Calvin Cater's he's a guy that they're talking about possible title contention coming soon, whatever. Burgos is as tough as they come, and he gained a shit ton of new fans on Saturday night. You know, he took a beating, but like you said, he kept coming. He was walking Emmett down. He was getting up from all his shots. I mean, you look at the list that Josh Emmett has. Guys don't get up from his punches, so he gained so much popularity on Saturday night, and I think he was setting himself up for these bigger fights. So I'm pumped to see him back in the octagon too, because I feel like you know, I want him to fight so much more than he does because he is so exciting. And then Josh Emmett, 3-fight win streak. And you know, I think they put up a poll. They're like, hey, who do you want to see Emmett fight next? It was like Kattar, it was Stevens rematch. So it's like, I feel like he has a ton of fun fights. I would love to see the Burgos fight 5 rounds. Like you said, who knows what would have happened if that, you know, that had 2 more rounds. I mean, to be completely honest, I would love to see maybe him and Stevens go at it again. You know, he had Stevens in trouble in that first fight. You know, obviously it was a brutal friggin' knockout, but I think he'd love to get that one back. And who wouldn't love to see, you know, I personally believe they're the 2 hardest hitting, you know, 145ers out there. I'd put them, you know, Kattar, Stevens, and Josh Emmett, as you've seen in their last, you know, fights here. So I think that was a fun one. We knew that was going to be a fun one. I think better than expected, to be completely honest. I know Emmett would, you know, after the fight, he was asking for more respect, which I think he definitely deserves. I don't think I think a lot of people were high on Burgos coming into this fight. I think they forgot about Emmett's power. I think they really were underestimating him, and he kind of came in and he, you know, he kind of proved why he's the top guy, you know, in this division. And then I don't know if you read, he tore his ACL in the first round in like the first 15 seconds.
Yeah, and I was gonna say that too. Like Burgos is having a lot of success with the leg kicks early on, and you saw that too. And I actually didn't know that he tore his ACL, but I did see him kind of limping around at one point in that. But the thing that I think threw everybody off was that he was throwing kicks with that same leg.
Yep.
So they think maybe it was a slip or he tripped or something. But yeah, Burgos was having a lot of success with the leg kicks early on, and then he kind of faded with those and focused more on the boxing. And I think that's where Emmett kind of took the fight. If he, you know, stuck with the leg kicks, who knows how it would have ended up.
That's what I'm saying. And I guess it is confirmed. I guess he did tear his ACL. Obviously, we don't know what round it could be. But like you said, I think he hit it pretty well with, you know, because of those leg kicks. But, dude, you got to be tough as nails to fight through a torn ACL. Like, that's not even, you know what I mean? Think about sometimes you see those injuries in football or whatever. Like, you don't get up the next play and you play with a torn ACL. In fighting, anything goes. That's why these guys are the toughest guys on planet Earth. So, phenomenal fight. I'm so excited. That one exceeded expectations there, so that's awesome. Coming to the main event, Curtis Blaydes taking on Alexander Volkov. Heavyweight bout. I think a lot of implications here just because of the streak that Curtis Blaydes has kind of been on and him really just beating everyone in his path other than Francis Ngannou. And then Volkov, who's just kind of always a top guy. Curtis Blaydes getting a decision. I don't know. Not the most exciting fight in the world. I think it was, you know, Dana kind of tore apart Blaydes afterwards and was like, you were talking all this shit all week saying how you maul guys. And that definitely wasn't the best performance you could have put out there. Although it was a dominating performance, it really wasn't. It was more of takedowns and kind of just sitting there, getting back up, takedown. I don't know. I wasn't really too impressed. Blades is usually a lot better than that, but obviously Volkov is a massive human being, so it was definitely hard to kind of keep him down. But I don't know, what would you think overall of the heavyweight main event?
Yeah, it was kind of to be expected. I mean,
Yeah.
Blades came out and said blatantly that I'm going to take him down. I'm not going to stand and strike with him. But yeah, it just made for a boring fight because it didn't look like Blades was looking to finish.
No.
He get him, pinned up against the cage and he'd knee him in the thigh and it just like some weak punches from like odd positions.
Yep.
It looked like he was just more hanging on to a victory rather than looking for the finish. With his style where he's so, wrestling centric, he has to incorporate some type of ground and pound or, advance his position to where he can do some damage or, go for a submission. It didn't really look like he was doing that. He was getting the takedown and then, nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah, and I definitely think it looked like he gassed towards the later rounds. And, I always thought that he was someone that had a great gas tank, obviously being a wrestler. I definitely think Volkov had a chance in the fifth, and he didn't capitalize on it. Obviously, same old story. The takedowns were, the biggest factor. And like you said, he didn't really incorporate the ground and pound, which is like, Khabib style and stuff like that. And that's, I think Blades kind of like tries to mimic that, but he doesn't have the same level of intensity. Obviously, in his last two fights, he's got the TKO victories, like not taking anything away from him. But for him to kind of scream out title shot, yes, he's beaten everyone in the division but Francis Ngannou. It's just tough after that performance to get all excited about Curtis Blades as a champion. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I give Volkov a lot of credit too because it says here you got taken down 14 times, 25 attempts.
Yeah.
And I think he got up every single time.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget if it was the third round, the fourth round. He got up with like 30 seconds left and he cut Blades. He was chasing him around and he was really piecing him up towards the end of one of those rounds. And he even scored a takedown of his own. I don't know if he caught that, but
yes.
that was pretty funny.
Yeah, MMA Twitter was going nuts over that one. That was good. But yeah, overall, like you said, expected kind of main event. I know you called it. You said the takedowns were going to be, the key factor in this. Obviously Volkov is a striker, right? The typical striker versus kind of, wrestler matchup. Yeah, I mean, good for Volkov. Like you said, I think he definitely showed his toughness in there. He wasn't going to be, let down. And then Blades, yeah, like I said, I just don't know where he goes from here because he's in a weird spot where it's like, DC Stipe 3 is happening in August. Mm-hmm. Francis, who knows if both of those guys retire? And then what is it going to be? Blades versus Francis 3 when Francis knocked him out twice. It's just tough. Like I don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, like a DC versus Blades would be interesting because they're both great at wrestling. They both have similar, styles, but Daniel Cormier's got that, he's got the ground and pound style. He can submit you. He's very good, obviously. And then, or him versus Stipe would be good, but obviously Francis is next in line here. So we got to kind of wait for the heavyweight division to play out. So, but yeah, actually pretty good card. Again, UFC Apex 3, however they want to call it, UFC Vegas 3. I don't even know what they're calling them anymore, but overall, great night of fights. Let's move to this weekend's card. Whew, we got a good one. Headline, Dustin Poirier taking on Dan Hooker in a lightweight main event. This card, overall, we got some decent names on this card. I think if you take a look, let's just look at the prelims real quick. You got guys like Sean Woodson on there. The prelim headliner, we got Luis Pena taking on Conor Worthy. That's going to be a fun fight. That's fight of the night written all over that one too. And then just coming into the main card, I know we were supposed to have Aspen Ladd taking on Sarah McMahon. I think Aspen Ladd tore ACL as well. I think she's done for a while. That sucks because she's super exciting. I know she was kind of working her way up the bantamweight ranks. So That one kind of sucks to see go. Got Brendan Allen on the card. And let's just get right into like the co-main event, as this is a weird one, but I get why it was booked. We got Platinum Mike Perry taking on Mickey Gall in a welterweight bout. What can we say about this one? You got guys like Mike Perry, who's had such a weird career, right? He was 9-0, came into the UFC, right? He took on Aljamain, lost. Then he had that vicious elbow of Jake Ellenberger. You know, he had superstar written all over him. He was knocking everyone out. And then he just went on this tear. He's lost his last 5 out of 7 fights, right? But he's taken on great guys. Like you look at Mike Perry and you can't say that he's been fighting slouches. This is his list. Santiago Ponzinibbio. We got Max Griffin, Paul Felder, Alex Oliveira, Vicente Luque, who just took on Wonder Boy, and then Jeff Neal, who everyone's talking about Jeff Neal now. The guys fought murderers row. You got to give him credit. He obviously has been on a skid, but he's an exciting fighter. He says some dumb stuff, but it brings attention. His social media is hilarious. I mean, he's a guy that comes to fight. Fight of the nights, knockout of the nights. He's got it all. So, and then he's taken on Mickey Gall, who, you know, he's got 8 fights to his name. You know, he's obviously best known for fighting CM Punk and submitting CM Punk within the first 40 seconds or however long that fight was, 2 minutes and 14 seconds, whatever. But you look at his resume, he's got really no one else on there. He lost to Diego Sanchez. He got TKO'd. So this one's a weird one because the level of competition Mike Perry has faced versus the level of competition Mickey Gall has faced is this big discrepancy. So let's just get right into it. What do you think about this matchup? It is a weird one.
Yeah, it's a tough one too because, you know, looking at it, you know, it makes sense looking at their records side by side, but the level of competition is so different. You know, you think about Gall, who came into the UFC fighting CM Punk. I mean, that doesn't really speak on his skill level, but it's just the level of opponent. And then he fights, you know, Sage Northcutt, who was a pretty big name at that point.
Derailed him. He did. He derailed the hype there.
So he's got those 2 fights behind him that kind of, you know, gave him like a little bit of star power.
Yeah.
Where he's fighting these big names, even though they weren't, you know, super high level competition. And then after that, he's, what is he? Loss, win, loss. So he's 1-2 after those.
Yeah.
After those 2 fights. He got TKO'd in one of them. So I think, I mean, especially with Gall being so young, I forget how old he is, but I want to say he's like 26 or something like that. Because I think he was the same age as Northcutt when they fought. Now, I think he's pretty young.
He's 28 right now. So, yeah, he was probably 26 when he fought. Probably a couple of years ago, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just thinking he needs a little bit more time. I think he can be really good. He's got really high-level jiu-jitsu. I just think his striking needs to catch up. He just needs a little bit more time to mature. And facing a guy like Mike Perry, I don't think it's the best idea for him because Perry, you know, he knocks people out flat.
Oh, God.
He hits so hard, and I don't know. I get Perry with this one. But if it does go to the ground, you know, Gall's got such an advantage on the ground, and we've seen Perry get submitted by Cerrone, who's not known for his ground game. I mean, he's got a good ground game, but that's not what he's known for. So I don't know, but I'm gonna go with Perry on this one. Even if it does go to the ground, I think with how vicious he is, with his ground and pound, how strong he is, I think he'll get back up to his feet and really piece him up.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it's hard not to bet all of your money that you've ever made in your life on Mike Perry on this fight. I think we're going to really see the day of the weigh-ins. I think we're going to see the size discrepancy between these two because Mike Perry is a house. He's a house. And Mickey Gall, you know, he's he's obviously ripped up, right? But he's, kind of a lankier guy. And, I look at this fight and it's like, I kind of know why the UFC made this. I think they want Mike Perry to get back on the win train. Obviously, he's exciting. He's an absolute madman. But like you said, there's also some risk. Look at, if you look at Mickey Gall's record, his first 4 wins were rear naked chokes. So you give up your back to this guy, you're going to sleep, and he's proven it. You know what I mean? And like you said, Cerrone, took Mike Perry for a ride, right? We all saw that iconic in which he's like, yeah. So I think, this is definitely a dangerous fight. And where Mike Perry is in his career, being on a skid, you know how Dana White is. He'll cut you after a 2-fight win streak, a 3-fight losing streak. It doesn't matter. He's pretty ruthless with that. Not that I think Perry would get cut after this, but I think, he kind of loses his, the luster he brought in, the star power that he brought in after that Ellenberger knockout and the big knockouts that he was putting up. But I'm going Perry. I think he's going to put him away early. I think it's going to be vicious. I think and he's going to get on the mic and he's just going to call out Darren Till, because those two have just been going back and forth on Twitter or whatever. I know he's a weight class up now, Darren Till, but they have the funniest trash talk, and I really would love to see that fight just because I think that'd be funny, and it would be friggin' awesome because both those guys like to strike. Darren Till ain't going to the ground. Mike Perry ain't going to the ground. I don't know if they'd actually ever fight. I don't know if they're just doing it for the clout or anything like that. But so yeah, Mike Perry, Mickey Gall, co-main event. That's, regardless, I think it's going to be a fun one. I think you're either going to see someone get submitted or you're going to get someone, that's going to get knocked out silly. So this one's going to be fun, and I can't wait for it. So let's get right into the main event, because this one, man, this is a former, interim champion, someone that took on, the great Khabib Nurmagomedov, almost, we could say it, almost submitted Khabib, kind of, almost. The closest anyone's ever come to maybe finishing Khabib, taking on Dan Hooker, who is a rising star in this division, someone who's on an absolute tear. Right now he's on a 3-fight win streak. If he didn't have that, that fight with Edson Barbosa, we'd be talking, 7-8 fight win streak right now. So let's just get right into this one, buddy. This one is exciting. There's a lot on the line for this one. Dustin Poirier wants to get back to that title, right? Dan Hooker is looking for that title now. So you got two guys, I'd say that pretty unique styles, because it's like you look at Dan Hooker, who is a kickboxer, right? He trains at the same gym as Israel Adesanya. He trains with, Alex Volkanovski, trains with absolute animals, dude. That gym is crazy. And then you look at a guy like, Dustin Poirier, who's a true boxer, who has one of the most crisp boxing in the lightweight division, honestly. Think about the guys that Poirier is beating, man. He's got Murderer's Row too, and he's beat them. Anthony Pettis, Justin Gaethje, Eddie Alvarez, Max Holloway. I mean, this fight is awesome. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot on the line for the two of them. Dan Hooker's, making his way up the rankings.
Yep.
With some really impressive victories over like James Vick, knocked him out. Iaquinta completely dominated.
Oh my God, great fight.
The Felder fight, 5-round fight. He showed that he can go the full fight. A lot of back and forth. Could have went Felder's way, but it ended up going Hooker's way. Still a great fight nonetheless. He's looking better and better and better every time he comes in.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you said, Dustin Poirier, he's faced everybody. He's got some great knockouts. He beat Gaethje, who's the interim champ right now. Holloway, who was a champ. Alvarez, who was a champ.
It's insane.
He's got such a crazy record. I'm sure there's even more than that. That's all I can think of off the top of my head. But yeah, it's going to be a fun one. I mean, you got Poirier, who's an excellent boxer, and then Dan Hooker, who he's looked great everywhere.
Yes.
He dominated Iaquinta on the ground, which No one was expecting that.
Yep.
And he's got a bunch of knockout victories on his resume. You know, I don't know. This is a tough one to pick, but I think I'm going to go with Poirier. You know, Hooker did show some weakness with those leg kicks with the Barboza fight.
Yes.
I think if he can implement that and combine that with his boxing and try to stay off the ground with him, I think he probably gets the win. But you can't count Hooker out in this one either.
Yeah, exactly. And I hate this one because, you know, I like both of these guys a lot. I love Dustin Poirier. I think he's like the heart and soul of that division, man. Like, he's the guy. I was so happy that night when he got the gold, man. Like, I was like so fired up. I mean, to beat a guy like Max Holloway, who was on a 13-fight win streak, and you know, it was great fight. But he just showed that he's in a different class, man. With that said, I'm going Hooker on this one. I'm going Hooker. You know, I know a lot of people, you know, don't like Dan Hooker for whatever reason. He's like such a good dude. You know, trains with Izzy, funny guy. I think, you know, I think he's gotten so much better in his last, you know, 4 fights. I think he learned a lot in that Edson fight, and I think it's just his time, man. I think he's, like you said, good everywhere. We really haven't seen, other than that Edson fight, you know, obviously when you've taken 20 Edson Barboza rib shots, anyone's going to go down. People, you know, see that as like as a weakness, but Edson Barboza has broke many people. I just like the way Hooker's fighting right now, man. I think he's got the upper edge. I think that gym right now, with Izzy, Volkanovski, and Hooker, man, I think they're on just an absolute tear. And I see him, you know, I see it as a decision. I don't think there's going to be a finish in this fight. I just see this is going to be 5 rounds. I think it's going to be a war. I really do. I think it's going to come down to the final friggin' minute here. But I think Hooker's going to get the nod. I think, obviously, you know, Dustin kind of had his time. He had his gold for a little bit, fought the champ. I think there's some new blood coming up. I'm going to go Hooker. I'm going to go split decision, but I think it's going to be fight of the year, to be completely honest. I think these two, I think they're going to kill each other.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I think you don't want to miss one. This is a fight night. If you didn't watch the last 2 fight nights, first of all, F you. And then if this is the one to watch, because this one is like 2 guys that I don't even know how they're on a free card. These guys should be fighting on a main card in a pay-per-view, you know, as a co-main event or whatever. So Dana White blessed us with an awesome fight night main event. Card overall is going to be awesome. I can't wait for that, because after this one, we got the big boy UFC 251 coming to you July 11th. We take a week off from fights. July 11th, we got UFC 251. So we've just had so many good fights leading up to this great pay-per-view. 3 title fights. Don't forget it. So the UFC's just been coming at us with some great cards. They just announced a shit ton over the summer. So this is going to be a great summer of fights. We got, and I think finally, you know, Dana White explained it best. I think we finally are seeing like champion versus number 1. And we aren't seeing these discrepancies anymore with people like, oh, rankings don't matter. Like, people, you know, Conor fights whoever he wants, or Nate fights whoever he wants. But now it's getting to the point where it's like Usman's fighting number 1 Gilbert Burns. You know, Volkanovski's fighting number 1 Max Holloway. Peter Yan's fighting number 1 Jose Aldo. Like, I think everything is kind of coming back to place in the UFC. I think, you know, with Masvidal out, Conor out, with, you know, John Jones out, it's kind of like, you know, they're losing all their superstars. Amanda Nunes might be retiring. They're losing their star power a little bit. So now's the time for guys like, you know, a Dan Hooker, or guys like, you know, Volkanovski to like actually step up and be the new stars of, you know, guys like, look at Kamaru Usman, right? People really hated his style before, and now, you know, he's gaining so many new fans after what he did to Colby, and you know, he's just defending his belt. People don't like that he's facing Gilbert Burns, but I love that fight, man. Burns is on an absolute tear, so this is going to be a fun fight. But overall, the summer is going to be friggin' amazing. I can't wait. 2020 obviously hasn't been the best for everyone, but Dana White and the UFC has been keeping us MMA fans on their toes. Anything else, buddy?
No.
Until next time, Flatline MMA. Peace.